Brought to you by Basecamp Ed. I'm Morgan, your host of the Homeschool Curious podcast. Whether you're deep in the homeschooling world or just starting to get curious, I'm here to bring you inspiring conversations with parents, educators, and business owners navigating the wild, wonderful world of parenting. Let's get curious together. What if history class felt more like an epic battle royale than a dusty, monotonous textbook? In this episode, homeschooling game innovator Zack Edwards flips the script on boring education, from his own school day dread of dates and timelines to crafting Historical Conquest, a card game where historical heroes, villains, and disasters clash in custom societies. Zack's all about gamification that sticks. We dive into his college dorm brainstorm, the family-friendly multiplayer magic, and how it pairs with custom curricula to spark real excitement for history. Then enter Xogos, his digital playground, expanding the fun into interactive learning with safe, community-driven rewards. And it's built for homeschool crews craving engagement without the screen time guilt. Whether you're battling mom burnout or just want kids who love learning, Zack's got the playbook. Fun over force every time. Today's episode is sponsored by Basecamp Ed, a community-building app that is free for parents to find local, like-minded families, dedicated teachers, and educational resources. Connect with parents to form your own co-ops, playdates, or groups. Need a math tutor or a sports coach? Teachers can list their credentials. There is also a business platform to discover game-changing educational brands. Take control of your child's educational journey. Visit their website at basecamped.com or download it in the App Store. Homeschooling was never meant to be done alone. It takes a village. Build it with Basecamp Ed.
Hey, Zack, thank you so much for joining the Homeschool Curious podcast. What really inspired you to create educational games for kids?
When I left high school, I hated history because of how it was taught. Even though I really should have loved the storyline, it just wasn't engaging enough. But at the same time, I loved games. I was playing a game called Magic the Gathering, which was like a darker type of Pokemon. My mom didn't like it and actually negotiated with me to get rid of it and said I could drive before I got my Eagle Scout if I got rid of my cards. So I just turned 16. I want to go on dates and not have my mama be a chauffeur. So I said, hey, I know what my priorities are. There goes the game. And soon after, I went out to college and I was given an assignment by my English professor. They said, create a product that would change the world for me. And so I took the love of games and the dislike for how history was taught, and I wrote a one-page essay. And I think I aced it. But every class I went to, that idea started to develop itself. Now, I went from a B and C student in college because I didn't really have anything to connect me with. All of a sudden, I became more engaged in all my classes because every single class developed this game that I had in the back of my mind. And as we just kept going, I kept on prototyping it. And by the time I graduated, I had a fully functioning game. I actually spent, as a starving student, $10,000 to make my first print. And I have like boxes of those cards still, because what happened was about a month after I had released it and the distributors were looking at it, I received an email back from them saying, hey, just so you know, the History Channel is coming up with their own card game. And because they have like multi-million dollars behind them and you're a starving student, we're going to go with them. And I said, I totally understand. That was a kick in the gut. But my wife said something very profound to me. She said, put away the game and go get a real job. So I did that for 10 years. And I did a regular business job and everything was great. And then I was showing some kids about entrepreneurship. They wanted to see what I produced. So I brought it out. They got to play it and they asked for more. And that's when I found partners, I found funding, and I got it going. And you might like this. The first sales that I actually made right out of the bat, the first one was me sending actually my materials from my printer straight up to Alaska. I had never seen these before. I had not touched my decks of cards. And so I went up there with a hope and a prayer that everything would turn out right. It arrives. I open it up. I sell out of everything. I walk into my house and my wife basically asked me how to go. I opened up my suitcase. And it's like, I sold out. I have orders that I still need to fill because it was gone. And it went gangbusters after that because everyone that played the game had never seen something like this before. And this is almost 12 years ago. And so they started telling all their friends, and we got bigger and bigger and bigger from there. It was great.
I love that story. And you are not the only one that disliked history. For whatever reason, I don't think, especially in traditional schools, it's taught very well. It's a lot of memorizing dates and facts and people, and without really connecting a storyline to what happened in history, it can really honestly be boring. And I went to a private school in high school, and class was used as me to get my homework done. He did not teach history. He wrote a bunch of stuff on the board, and as soon as the students wrote what they needed to write, you could free talk with your friends in the class. And I used that time to do my math homework, so I didn't have to do it after school. I am so excited as a homeschool mom. I shouldn't be admitting this. I will be learning with them. I truly don't know a lot about history. And it's funny because my husband, who also didn't really love history growing up too, is obsessed with it today. And it's how he's learning it today through really fun podcasts and tie what happened in the past to today's event. It truly is really important to learn and know, but it's just not taught very well. So it's so cool that you have found and created a product that makes something that used to be maybe more monotonous and boring way more fun. So what is included in the physical game box? You mentioned playing cards, but are there books? Or tell me more about what a parent should expect when they get it.
When it comes to Historical Conquest, picture a game that looks like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, those kind of card games, but where every card has a person that's actually from history.
Okay.
Actually, let me show you some of the cards. So I've got a deck of cards here. You'll find cards that have to do with Christopher Columbus or an invention of ice cream or even the atomic bomb card. So this is the Rosetta Stone. You can actually read the history of the card here, or the topic. The abilities for the game are all based off that history. So while the kids are playing, whether they're reading this larger section or they're just playing the game, they're actually going to learn history. Think of the gameplay being the game of Risk, where you start off with one land and you grab 5 cards off the top of your deck. Out of those 5 cards, you're going to get all these different types of cards. Also, the background has to do with the type of card they are. If you find a blue one, it's an explorer. You can actually find new lands with every explorer. So you're growing your civilization. You're defending it with different people from history that you're putting above those lands. And all these cards are working to either do 2 things. One is to conquer all your opponent's lands. There are 2 numbers at the bottom. You have attack points, defense points. These are your strengths. And if you're going to attack someone, you'd count all the first number, the attack strength. If you're defending, you count the defense strength. And every card is unique. You're going to find land cards of like Colombia and the west coast of the United States, parts of Africa, parts of Asia, parts of Europe, all these different places. So you're defending them. Now, here's also a really fun thing. Because we didn't want to just teach about military history, we wanted to bring in authors, musicians, actors. We had to make the game a little bit different than Risk as well. So we have what we call morale points. It's how happy your people are. And so the abilities can give you morale. Someone that's an artist, boost your civilization's morale by 500 points. If you get to 3,000, you win the game. If you conquer all your opponent's land, you win the game. It allows us to cover everything in history. If you get a single box, that's enough for one person to play. You actually need 2 different decks in order for 2 different people to play.
So is it a 2-player game, or could more than 2 players play at the same time?
That's a great question. How many kids do you have, if I can ask?
3, almost 4.
Sweet. Okay. So the best games are between 3 and 4 players.
Perfect.
But they go up to 6, so mom and dad can also play. This is like
awesome.
This is like the ultimate family game, because every card can bring up an actual conversation. You can converse on history. You can have fun with it. Kids will be reading. It's like, okay, Dad, what does this mean? And you can answer it on the spot, just having fun.
Children are going to retain facts so much more through this interactive card game than reading a book.
Exactly. Now, these larger decks are all world history. So it's not based on one topic or one chronological era. These smaller decks, though, are called expansion decks. This one is just on the American Revolution. So you put the cards into your deck, add them to it, and now you have an emphasis on that time period. So while the kids are playing, say that they're learning about the American Revolution. They want to know about Major Pitcairn, who you probably never heard of, but he's actually a major part during the Battle of Bunker Hill. He was shot by someone named Peter Salem. It was a major blow to both sides because he was like one of the level heads on the British side. So you can learn all these different facts and figures. We have things like play mats and that have to do with the game as well. A few years ago, we were asked to do a curriculum, and we were actually hoping to sell this to every school in America. Come to find out, the public school teachers, when we try to sell it to the schools, actually write the history for us. Wait a second, what? The teachers have no background in history, and they're the ones writing the curriculum? That's wrong. So in response, during COVID, I spent a huge amount of money to keep my employees employed because it was hard to sell at that point.
Yeah.
And we started writing a curriculum. Best way I could see us doing this is sending them a box every month. And it has everything from activities, vocabulary, cross curriculum. And a lot of parents love the system. But we had a lot of kids not really wanting to read a textbook. So in order to overcome that issue, we actually created what we call our Heroes and Villains series. This is actually history told by the people that were actually there. It's like hundreds of living books all in here. Well, you'll open up a page and you'll read George Washington's life. And then he will teach you about the American Revolution on certain parts of it. Public schools these days, they like looking from a bird's eye view. And the bird's eye view allow you to see the whole picture, but they don't actually get into the actual stories, which is what makes history actually exciting to youth. The kids want to know about the people, not as much about the actual events that are in history. We'll put them together. That's what we created.
I'm sorry if this is a silly question, by the way. Is this their history curriculum, or is this something that's fun supplemental on the side, but still suggest a parent to also have the more standard history curriculum too?
So we're actually very versatile. So when we started off, it was all supplemental. We played a game while they used classical conversations or mysteries of history. And we actually do really well with all of them. With these textbooks and the boxes that we send, it's a full-on curriculum. And what we do is we go a little bit further than anyone else that's out there. We actually provide something for every student of every type of learning style. So if they're an audible learners, we have audio, visual, video, kinesthetics. Of course, we have the cards that they can play with, activities. We have everything from lessons to text, any type of learning style we cover. Your student will actually learn 10 times faster if they're able to engage with what they're learning with. So that's why our curriculum is one of the best that you'll find out there, because we do all these things for every type of learner.
How do the parents monitor that their child is retaining the information that they need?
No, that's great. Depends on the book. We have assessments and such. The parents are there during certain times. The number one best way of retaining information is not games. That's number two. Number one is actually teaching what you're learning to somebody else. And so in our lesson plans, every week the student's going to come back and give you a 5 to 10 minute recap of what they've learned. And because they're engaging with it, that information will stick with them a lot longer than reading, lectures, anything else. Games is great, but we have to admit that that is the number one way of learning.
So Xogos is your video game platform. When did this kind of enter the journey?
Okay, so let's go back to when we were focus grouping the teachers and the schools trying to get our curriculum into the schools. So they said that we love the system, but we can't use this because it takes up too much of our time. It's too expensive being a paper product. Do you have anything digital? Now, at the time, we were actually working on Historical Conquest Digital. The kind of game that we had to create really burns out programmers. And then at some point, they're like, it's just too much because every single card has to be programmed for its own abilities. And so they all burned out. But when the teachers asked us this, we said, okay, we got to go full on in this. Xogos is a gaming library, much like you'd see in like Roblox, except that there's a lot of big differences between us and Roblox or Fortnite. One, we're nonviolent. We want kids to have fun, but they don't have to kill people in order to have fun.
Okay.
But they're safe in our system. Everyone in our system are in two categories. They're either kids 6 years old to 19 years old. At 19, you're actually kicked off the system, or their parents and teachers. Now, the kids can play and they can have fun in it. So the parents can go in, they can play with their own kids, but they can't interact with anybody else. Congress is actually trying to figure out ways of solving this legislatively. The market is pushing for a lot of these systems to change, but kids are not safe online, whether it's social media, whether it's on chat rooms, or even in their video games. One of our biggest competitors that is not educational, so semi-competitor, they have one of the biggest issues with predators, with people that are talking to them that are pretending that they're kids and they're not, swearing.
Yeah, scary.
Yeah, these systems, they'll actually say, oh, we got rid of all the swearing. Oh, no, you bleeped out a word, but they know exactly what the word is. And maybe they didn't swear in there. Maybe they just said some really derogatory or very inappropriate things in the chat. Our system's different. You don't chat with just anyone that you're playing games with. In our games, there is no in-game chatting. That way, you're always talking to someone you actually know. Everyone in your chat are either one, their family, two, organizations. If you're part of a co-op, if you're part of a school class, you'll be connected with other students in that class. The parents can actually go into the account and see who you're chatting with. We want this to be an open conversation between the parents and students. Your husband, if he wants to play a game with one of your kids, he can actually jump on and start playing a game with your child. And this creates a great connection with the kids. One of the issues that we find these days when it comes to kids, when they're little, they idolize their parents. The parents, they get busy. They're not spending as much time with the kids. The kids will find somebody else to idolize. And I'm not just talking about being in the same presence. I mean actually interacting with them. Family dinners, playing games and toys with them, even playing video games. If the kids are in the video games, the best way to connect to your kids is probably jumping on in a video game. And you may not like, my wife does not like video games, but when I jump into the video games with them, we are conversing nonstop. We are talking about all different types of things. We're making plans, we're making strategies, and that also goes out to real life. My kids will most likely come to talk to me when something comes up. And so if they know that there's interaction, yeah.
The first time we did talk, it was so funny because the day before I met you, my husband enjoys playing video games. And my oldest, who's only 5, saw him doing it and was questioning it. And so my husband was like, let's just buy a fun little game that's good for 5-year-olds. And him and my son played and bonded over it. And then that night he was like, I feel kind of guilty. Should we be really teaching him at 5 about video games? And I said, I grew up loving games. My parents played physical board games with us. I loved playing my Nintendo. If you allow your child to have a screen, I would rather my boy play video games for an hour, especially with a product like yours. It is educational. My son would think it's cool for the next few years. But how do you keep middle and high schoolers engaged and really want to play your game if they know it is more for education than actual just playing a video game?
No, see, that's a really good question. That's something that's always at the top of our minds. Elementary school, we have a ton of competitors. There are a lot of different video game systems that are out there, platforms for kids to do ABC Mouse and such. But here's the big difference. With us, we actually go after 70% fun and only 30% educational. And there's a reason why we do that. The more your kids actually enjoy the video games, the more that they'll come back. Why are they stuck on Roblox? Why are they stuck on Fortnite? It's because they're very much engaged with that game. So we actually do it as a different ratio as much educational games. They do 90% education. And they're not exactly the most fun. They're very, very rudimentary. That's actually one of the reasons why we don't have many competitors, because no one's jumping into this. And that was one of our things that the teachers were telling us. We have nothing for middle school and high school. The kids do not want to be in there. They don't want to play educational games because they're just like child's play. I was like, okay, so there's got to be a way of making it more exciting for these kids to have fun with it. That actually stats are 90% of kids like games, but there are still a good amount of kids that do not like playing games. So in our system, we're actually a little bit different. We are not the type of video game system that we try to keep your kids on the screen. We actually want to get your kids off the screen. So one of the things that we do, besides having really fun games, we actually incentivize them to get off the screen. Right now, through our local university, UMKC, University of Missouri through Kansas City, they have a program called Digital Sandbox. It's helping out digital entrepreneurs to produce their product. We got a grant from them for $20,000 to develop what we call iServe. iServe is a volunteer app where while they're on our system, if they want to get coins, they can get them through gameplay, they can get them through good grades, or they can get off the screen and actually do something physical, such as going out and volunteering. Now, the way that this happens is a nonprofit signs up and says, hey, I have this service project cleaning up a park and I don't have anyone to do this. Where do I go? So they go to our system, they log it in, they schedule it. Every student that goes on our system and sees that service project, like, I want coins, I want to serve, or maybe my parents are pushing me to do something active. They go to the service project, they get clocked in, they get clocked out, they come back to the system, and there's coins on the system. And they can use those coins for in-game purchases, or they can actually convert them into scholarships. So that's one of the big things that we'd say. We're actually giving more to the families that are buying into us than they're paying us. We're talking about thousands of dollars that these kids can make from like elementary school when they start playing to when they graduate. Thousands of dollars to go to not just a university. What about a trade school, a learning certificate, a career program? We cover those too. So
Wow.
This is a way of actually getting kids really engaged in the system. So we set up this whole gamification of everything that they need to do in order to succeed in life.
Yeah, I've never heard of anything like this. This is really cool. You brought up the in-purchase games because Fortnite and Roblox, I've heard that parents don't even know sometimes that their children are spending money through monetizations and they have no idea.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point. So we have a subscription to get into it, or even a lifetime membership you can buy. But after that, there's no monetization. There are no ads. There's no buying coins. This allows the parents to know that the kids are safe in the system. In our system, you play games, you earn coins. That's how we sell it to them. We earn coins. You get good grades. You go out and serve. Or in the future, you'll be able to do things that are physical. You'll be able to do tutoring to other students, and you'll get coins as well. So you're actually earning these coins. And then the value of currency, the value of money increases in their mind because they're actually seeing things that actually come from it. And then those coins turn into scholarships. One of the things that makes us very valuable for a lot of parents is kids get bank accounts and they're able to see the money grow over time. And it's a very long process. In our system, we actually have what we call Xogos Bank. Xogos Bank is actually a bank account that the kids can save their money, save their coins that they get in platform currency, and they can actually see them grow over time. And this is not like a 1% growth. They actually get a multiplier that within about, I think it's a year, it doubles the coin's value. By doing that, the kids actually see it, say, oh, wait a minute, I want to save money. I want to do these things because I want to get that interest. I want to get that growth. And by doing that, they're actually growing the money that they'll have for their scholarships. They're going to be learning about personal finance. And some of our games actually have to do with personal finance, where they can learn about careers. I was just playing a video game called Debt-Free Millionaire. And it actually teaches the kids of, you get to pick your career. You go into your career, you get to pick what the requirements are if you want to go to college or if you trade school or start the career. And then all of a sudden you jump into the actual simulation and you do activities that have to do with that career that you've chosen. And the kids are able to learn about budgeting, investing. The kids can actually start their own business in the game. And so it's a whole life simulation. So all of our games, 70% fun, 30% educational, but they're going to want to come back over time.
You have me sold. When my kids are older and know how to read, like I feel like they will love these games. So how can parents purchase either the Xogos gaming platform or the physical Historical Conquest?
So we go to most major conventions all across the US when it comes to homeschooling. So they can always go there, ask us any questions. Email me. Actually, this is a great thing. So if you have a question on this, it's Zack@historicalconquest.com. I'm fully open to everyone. You can go to our website, which is www.historicalconquest.com, or Xogos, which is www.xogosgaming.com, and it'll answer a ton of your questions. Again, email me. You can purchase everything online, but here's something that's new this year, which is great. We're attached to scholarship programs, ESA programs all across the United States. So if you're in an ESA program or a scholarship program that in the state that has one of these, you'll probably find us there. If not, please email us. We will work hard to get on there as quick as possible to make sure that we can get you reimbursed for anything that you have. You can go on our site and check us out. Look at all our reviews. Go on our YouTube channels. Go on our social medias. We are fully transparent so you can see everything. And if you have a question, don't hesitate to ask.
I can't thank you enough for coming on. This was a really cool conversation.
It's so great that you're able to have me on here. I also really appreciate all the help that you're giving me with Basecamp. Basecamp seems to be a really fun program. Hopefully you like games because it's one of the greatest ways of connecting with your kids and creating that relationship with them.
You're probably not watching this on video if you listened to the podcast. So you probably didn't see Zach's funny shirt, but it says, "Don't make me repeat myself," says history.
That's right.
I love it.
This has been a production of the Ultimate Homeschool Podcast Network. If you made it all the way to the end, you are amazing. Thank you for listening and your support. Let's stay connected, and here are my tasks for you. Subscribe, like, and share on your favorite podcast app or on my website, basecamped.com. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook at basecamped.app, and go download Basecamp if you haven't already. Leave a comment and spread the love.